Welcome back to the Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com. And now I'm going to take a look at a really good drama film that is out in cinemas. It's called A Good Person, and it's written and directed by Zach Braff, a director who has been pretty exciting to watch over the years. Of course, most people would know him from his acting roles in television shows like Scrubs, but he's also been a very, very good director over the years. Something that I know a lot of people out there probably haven't really taken too much of a notice of over the years, but he's done some amazing things. Of course, he's the director that's worked on Ted Lasso in later times, but before that, he's done a bunch of movies, Wish I Was Here, and Garden State, which was universally applauded by critics and film lovers as well. His films are normally hard-hitting, and that is exactly the case for A Good Person. It follows the story of Allison, played by Florence Pugh, and at the start of this film, she's in a stable relationship with her fiancé, Nathan, played by Jinaza Uchi. They're happy together, and things cruising along nicely, heading towards their wedding, when all of a sudden one day Allison takes out Nathan's sister and her husband for an outing to go and look at wedding dresses. Momentarily distracted on the road, Allison has a car accident that results in the death of both her future sister and brother-in-law. That is absolutely shattering news for the family, especially the father, Daniel, played by Morgan Freeman, and his granddaughter, their daughter, Ryan, played by Celeste O'Connor. Now, the story picks up about 12 months after that accident. Ryan is now in the care of Daniel, and he is struggling. He has absolutely no idea how to look after a teenage girl, and she is spiraling. She's gone from being a gifted young athlete who looked like getting into college on a soccer scholarship to now looking like she might even be kicked out of school because of the amount of fights that she's been in. Life has also changed for Allison. Her and Nathan are now split up, and she's found herself dependent on the painkillers that she was given while she was recovering from the accident. That has left her mother, Diane Molly Shannon, looking after her, but also at wit's end. Then something very unusual happens. Realizing how low her life is, Allison decides to go to Alcoholics Anonymous as a drug addict. There, she runs into Daniel, who is also an addict and has been for a number of years. Together, the two start talking, and they start to try to work out whether or not Allison would actually be good to have in Ryan's life. Now, like I said, as you would expect from most Zach Braff films, this is a pretty hard-hitting film. In fact, when I was watching this film, I was thinking of films like Trainspotting and how that dealt with drug addiction, because a lot of people would possibly look at this film and think, okay, it's about a young woman who is addicted to painkillers, basically, prescription medication. It's very different to something like Trainspotting that looks at heroin addiction. But this film shows exactly what that journey is like for someone who was living a happy life and suddenly finds themselves addicted to pain prescription medication. There is a really touching scene in this where Allison, at her wit's end looking for drugs, finds herself in a bar with two losers from her former high school, and they start to rib her about the fact that she was one of the popular girls at school and now she's no better than them. And it's an absolutely heartbreaking scene as one of them bullies her and tries to get her to admit that she is in fact an addict and the same as them. It's a long scene, and that is something that Zach Braff does particularly well in this film. This is not a film where he is there thinking that this is going to be a tough moment for the audience to watch. He wants to tell his story, and he tells that story in the best possible way. And if that is a long scene that puts Allison through hell, then so be it. He will actually show that scene. The whole storyline between Allison and Daniel is absolutely fantastic, and it's played brilliantly by Morgan Freeman and Florence Pugh. there's a lot of people out there that I've recently been reading who have said that like they wonder about Florence Pugh's career. Is she going to go down the whole blockbuster path now that she's part of the Marvel universe? Well, this film shows that Florence Pugh is still not afraid to take on films that call for some pretty gritty acting, because she has some very harrowing scenes in this film, and she pulls them off remarkably well. The scenes that she shares with Morgan Freeman are just absolutely sensational. I suppose some people are thinking Morgan Freeman hasn't done anything for a while, but he is fantastic in this film. He's fantastic as playing a character that's mood will change depending on what kind of day he's having. There are some times in this film where he seems like he feels really sorry for Allison and he wants to help her. On other days, he's furious at her for the fact that she took away his daughter and her husband. Same, Celeste O'Connor playing Ryan. She does a magnificent job in this film. She again has a very difficult and dramatic role to play, and she does that sensationally well. She's a young actress that I think we all need to be watching because she does this so well in this film. The fact that she's starring alongside people like Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman, that would have been really intimidating for her. You've got Morgan Freeman, an absolute legend of the screen, but then you've also got someone who just a couple of years ago was described as one of the best up-and-coming actresses in the world. So for Celeste O'Connor to star alongside these two and put in such a fantastic performance just goes to show what a strong actress she's going to be in the future. Again, Zach Braff needs a lot of congratulations for this film. His screenplay is unrelenting and powerful. I mentioned Trainspotting earlier. I don't think this film kind of goes as deep as Trainspotting, but it certainly has the same kind of impact on its audience. I think I would have been one of those people that I would have originally thought, a film about being addicted to prescription medication, how bad can that be for someone? Like, I'm pretty naive about something like that, but this film really opened up that world for me and showed me just how tough it can be. And I guess it kind of shows that in the film as well. That's how Allison views it, that she's on prescription medication. It can't be that bad for her. But you see what it's done to her life. It also shows, I guess, the impact of what happens after a car accident that is pretty much your fault, and you've got to live with the fact that you've taken two people's lives and potentially ruined two other people's lives who loved those people that you've killed. So it takes a good hard look at that as well. There's some amazing scenes in here. The way that Allison finds out that the car accident had fatalities is so well written by Zach Braff. It's something that you could imagine actually happening. It's not the ideal way for her to find out about it, but that's how she finds out about it. And it's Zach Braff's screenplay delivering moments like that makes this film a film I think that a lot of people out there should watch. If you're in the mood for a good drama with a brilliant script, definitely check out A Good Person. Amazing performances by Florence Pugh, Morgan Freeman, and Celeste O'Connor. There's twists and turns through this film as well, so you'll never really be able to pick where this film is going to end up until Braff allows you to do so. Good soundtrack, as you would normally expect from a Zach Braff film as well, but definitely one to go and check out if you like a good dramatic film. It is showing in most cinemas, but please go and check your local cinema guide to make sure it is showing near you, because I know there are some cinemas that aren't showing this one, but I'm going to give A Good Person 4 out of 5 and recommend it for anybody out there that likes a good dramatic film. You're listening to The Popcorn Conspiracy on centralcoastradio.com, and we will be back in just a moment.